And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Car story with Dad. I'm looking forward to reading your car story, so send it in. But first, as I mentioned earlier, I thought I'd give you one of my own. The dad in the car story, of course, is me. So here we go. When my girls reached the age of 16, I bought each of them, and they are a year and 2 days apart, their own car. For the oldest, Kim, I bought a 65 Comet, and folks, this is unreal, a 65 Comet that had been modified with a special engine, raised body, twin exhaust, and it had a special lower gear ratio for, the quick starts. And I remember spending some 3 months. I added power steering, armrest, which had been stripped off by the previous owner. And I changed the gear ratio to get away from that drag race gear ratio and put a standard street gear in it to help slow the car down. And I put a new floor shift unit to make it drive easier. It was the day before her 16th birthday, and I just finished making the car safe to drive, or so I thought. So I took it out for a spin, and that's exactly what happened. I hadn't gotten more than a mile or so down the road and turned a corner, and about that time, the transmission downshift, the back of the car came around and around and around. Luckily, there weren't any other cars within striking distance, but the bottom line, the near accident was enough to scare the heck out of me. So here's what I did. That evening, I called the local Nissan dealer, my cousin happened to work there, and bought a 2-door Nissan brand new car, standard transmission with 90 horsepower. The car was white, it was plain, and it was a safe car for a teenage driver, and she loved it the minute she sat in the new car seat. It was then I realized that I really had bought the older Comet for myself, sort of to bring back memories that I wanted, not for my daughter at all. So you talk about putting a spin on life. The following year, as I said, my younger daughter was a year and 2 days between ages. It was easier to plan the car buy, and so I bought a used car for the same dollar investment as my older daughter's new car. I bought a used Acura Integra, and this car had twice the automobile as the Nissan. It had overhead cams and 5-speed transmission, 4-wheel disc brakes and a special radio, and all of it. She drove it 200,000 miles before they finally had to give it up. And I'll tell the rest of the story when I come back from this break. There at the end of the break, I was telling a story about my car story, about my daughters, and the fact that I bought them each a car when they turned 16. The first car was the new Nissan with 90 horsepower, and that was a direct result of me buying a hot rod for my daughter, and really I bought it for myself, and I learned, just lucky for me, that I learned the day before her birthday that the car was not roadworthy. It was a hot rod, and it was just absolutely an accident promising to happen. It wasn't waiting, it was promising to happen. So I learned from that and bought her a little 90 horsepower stick shift Nissan, which is a great car. My next daughter turned 16 the following year and 2 days apart, and I bought her an 8-year-old, as I remember, a 2-year-old Acura Integra with 4-wheel disc brakes. And as I remember, I paid $8,000 for each car. My daughters loved every minute. And after I taught them how to use a stick shift, they taught their friends how to use a stick shift. Now, it's your turn. You send me your car story with Dad to carstory@carclinicnetwork.com, and you'll be entered to win an Escort Passport Max, a $550 value, compliments of our friend Ron Gividen at Escort.